Hello, everybody. I finished last week after the show. I finished this image, but I didn't get rid of the pencil lines. So we're going to get rid of the pencil lines right now for you guys. So there's going to be some camera shake from this. So okay. So and if the image on the screen looks different, it's because a I took the camera and backed it down. So instead of one times the image, it's now at uh, zero point 0.5. So that's the reason why you can see back there, back at the back of the bar. Um, who knows? Maybe after today I'll go back to that. But I was looking like, well, I've noticed that there have been times where when I'm working at one times image size, the focal point ends up where my hand and the image is blurred. So we're gonna I want you guys to see the image, so we're going to try that. If it works, it works. If it not, we'll go back to the one times. But the one thing I also have noticed a lot of times with the one times is I'll be working and I'll be working off panel, thinking I'm off screen when I'm on screen. So trying to come up with ways so I can keep the image on the screen for you guys so you can see. So, but you can see how we're getting rid of the pencil lines and now the dots are really showing the image. So it's looking good. So let's see here. Yeah, that's good. So there's a little bit like I still gotta do some. There's like one up in the upper corner of this guy here. I still gotta do the ribs, the ribbing of the tentacle arms. So the mechanical arms. So okay, so but yeah, so that's piece is done. So there you go. And then, like I said, if I'm ever on Don, each time I get to be on uh, Don Draws Live, I'll put an image in each one of these areas so that way you can see the progress on the show more so than me doing these videos. And I think this is almost a month ago we were doing it, and I finally showing you guys it finished. But I mean, I have a regular job and uh, other obligations. I mean, I only get to really work on this when I'm here at the bar. So, but now that will change if John's Long Box, he was talking today on his show, and he said, "Hey Vaughn, we've all known that he's planning on uh, doing the Patriarch as its own comic, and then Heroic Tales will kind of be like I would say almost like a Marvel 2-in-1 or a Marvel team up, where you'll have two stories in it, basically giving you a taste of new characters as he builds his universe, which is neat to do. And then I applaud John that he's getting himself to the point where he can do two books. So if he can do two books, that's awesome. So, but well, you guys can probably hear that in the background. Trains passing by. So, um, yesterday I went up to Lehigh Valley for a show. That's the reason why I didn't stream. I was up there all day. So what I'm going to do is instead of talking about uh, the show on today's stream, since I haven't covered week 15 yet of signed comics, what I'll do is next Sunday I will go. I will talk about my adventures in Lehigh. So, but and then of course next Saturday I will be doing my usual will be week 16. So this is week 15 of signed comics, and week 15 we have right off the bat with day 96 we have Harley Quinn issue 4, and it is the reason why I picked this one for Carl Kessel to sign is because of the fact that I like the cover and the story. The cover sums it all up. What is it? Harley's off on her own. She's no longer with Mr. J, and here she needs some. She needs some some thugs. So she grabs a bunch of thugs, and it's kind of one of those deals where it's like uh, henchmen in Gotham City. The way it's kind of betrayed is henchmen are kind of like temp workers. They get out of jail and they just kind of like just hang around at the one hangout, and they just wait for the Riddler or the Joker or in this case Harley Quinn to call them up and go, hey, I got some work for you, and then they go, they do their work, and either they get away with it and get paid, or they go to jail, and then they come back out of jail, and it's all over. So it's funny, like it's like how like henchmen in Gotham City are like temp workers when you have a lot of work that needs to be done in the office or the warehouse, and you hire these day workers just for the day or for the week, just to work, and then when your work's done, those people are let go. So that's like I kind of like that idea how it's like, oh, so yeah, Harley's just hiring some temp workers for, and of course over the course of the job, she like ridicules them and basically just like has some fun at her own expense at like almost like demeaning them in some ways, and kind of like, oh, you guys are doing a great job here. Wear this stupid hat. So, see, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna do this, and you're gonna draw the bad guys' attention. Yes, you might get shot, but it'll be really fun if they do. I mean, that type of thing. So I really like that. I mean, this was much more the Harley Quinn that I knew. I never read the Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Connor, Harley Quinn. And I know a lot of people like it catch flack because like that's what kind of like those guys, I guess, wokeified her and made her gay. But I don't care about that. I was like, I never read the issues to judge it, to judge what they did. So I just like, I mean, like I said, this is the Harley Quinn I bought, and I enjoyed it. So that's why I had this one signed. So, and then of course, day 97. Now, this was out of order. I had forgotten about this one, so this should actually this book should actually be day 96, and Harley should be actually day 97. Day 97 was uh, it was Gumby Winter Fun Special with Art Adams, and when I had Art sign this book, I presented it to him, and he actually cracked a smile and started laughing. You know, how, like a lot of people say, like how like Art Adams is a curmudgeon, and he's kind of like he's got like a he's like kind of like a tolerant, grumpy man. He like tolerates the fact that he has to talk to his fans. No, he was generally very interactive when I showed him this book, and he was like, "Oh yeah," he goes, "Oh, I love doing this so much," and how like I guess the people who had the rights, they no longer have the rights to do Gumby, but he implied that if he ever had the opportunity to do a Gumby book again, he would like to do it. So, whoever out there has the rights to do to print Gumby comic, get a hold of Art. He'd love to do it, and as a fan of Art's work, I would love to buy it. And I know there's a lot of other fans out there also that would love to buy another Gumby book by Art. Uh, and then you think about it, he's such a he does such a good work, and he has such a following that he doesn't need to create his own version of Gumby. He can just be like, no, I want to do my own I want to do the original Gumby, and if the and if the people who have the rights to print Gumby, if they pony up the right amount of money, he'll do it. So, but no, he really enjoyed it. I enjoyed this book too. I wish I had the summer fun issue. That might be one of those books I'm going to have to like look up on eBay or whatnot and see if I can get my hands on it. So, of course, these days what the cost would be, I may not go to have him sign it because it costs so much, and he charges at least $10 a signature. But it would still be a nice book to have. So, because this is a book that I've always liked to look through this, just because of his line work and whatnot. So, And then after Gumby, the winter special, we did day 98, which is Hawk and Dove issue number one. Now, this wasn't the Hawk and Dove mini series. This was the DC ongoing series that followed the successful miniseries. We all know the miniseries is the book that kind of like made everybody aware of, and where this is really the book where Rob Liefeld made his debut. So, but Hawk and Dove was such a success that it is an ongoing series. Rob didn't do the series itself. They had a Guler Guller. I don't remember the first name, but they had him do the pencils. Scott Hanna did the inks, and he signed it. Carl Kessel wrote it, so he's there as he signed it. And then Glenn Whitmore, he also did the colors for it. So I had Glenn sign it. So I've got all three signatures on this book. Very happy that I've got those signatures on it. If the artist ever shows up at a show, this would definitely be one of those books that I'd have him sign to join the team. So, but no, I enjoyed this book. It was actually one of my favorite books. I was actually really disappointed when they did their Armageddon event with the annuals, and at the end of the annual, at the end of the annuals they had they had issue one, then they had the annuals, then they had issue two, and in issue two, they reveal who the monarch is, which turns out that it was Hank Hawk. So I was kind of disappointed by that because I liked Hawk. They have him come back as have him revealed as the villain was a real disappointment. But I mean, you take a look. I mean, I'm sure the reason why they did that was because the sales weren't there for Hawk and Dove. So okay, I'm looking at this what I've done so far, and what I'm seeing is I need to add some. I need to add a tone to the inside of the leg here. So we're going to add some dots in here. What I'll probably do is, let's see here. Well, I definitely want to do. Let's get out of the pencil. So we definitely want to get some tone in here. So if we have the tone come up and then come down, that will work because we'll have a lighter tone more like that in front of that, and then maybe put a tone in here like that. Put that tone there. I think that'll work. And then what we can do actually is come in here, just come up, and we'll, because that's where his knee would be. So yeah, that works. Okay, and that's what I do sometimes when you have where this is designed. The pencils are good. The pencils are very good. I'm just putting in. Think of it this way: if I was using, I'm doing this to create a holding line as if I was going to cut out and slap some zipatone in. Only I'm doing it with dots. So that's why uh, I'm putting in the pencil works to help me figure out where, if this was zipatone, where I'd put the zipatone in. So, and then, so after day 99, we had day 100. Day 100 of signed comics. And what we have here is we have Hawk number 7, signed by Tim Truman and by Rags Morales. This was the very first time Rags Morales and Tim Truman collabed artistically. They'd worked together creatively when Tim Truman was writing Turok, but this was the first time that they'd worked artistically together. So I know that was a great. And Rag said, he goes, "Oh, I had so much fun working on this book." Now, as I've discovered from looking back, Rags Morales, I've always been a big fan of his work. I've come to realize that I've posted more books signed by Rags than any other creator so far. Now, as things go along, that may change, but as of right now, Rags Morales is the number one artist for signed comics, which made me think about what I might do at the very end of the year is go through and tally up the artists that I post the most amount of books from, and then at the same time also do a rundown of okay, Rags Morales, he did. I showed 12 of his books. George Perez, I showed 8 of his books. John Byrne, I showed 2 of his books. Then like Keith Williams, I showed 3 of his. The whole rundown. So that might be an extra long video I do, just basically mentioning every single creator who did, whose work was shown over the year, and and just give them a recognition for doing the books that I like most for them to be posted. So, but and then after that was on day 101 after Hawkman number 7, we had the history of the DC universe. Now, I know that that they've announced that Mark Waid will be doing a history of the DC universe. This is, for me, still the definitive version of the DC universe. What makes this so good is George's artwork is spectacular, and just the way George did it with no panels and just an illustration, and Marv Wolfman worked the dialogue in around the illustration, and George did such a good job of even just doing storytelling just with the images themselves. Like one image of the classic uh, Blue Beetle, and then doing an image of uh, uh, Zarana and Doc uh, and Green Lantern, classic Alan Scott Green Lantern. Just one image, and just what he put into the image to really tell you the full thing, and then uh, Marv's Marv's narration explaining what's going on. It's secular. It's secondary. It's not even. It's in many ways it's not even needed. But this has always been. The reason why I showed the first one as opposed to the second one is at the time when this came out, I didn't know. I only knew the era of the superheroes. I didn't know all the all of the story and lore of the DC universe prior to the superheroes. So it wasn't until they got to the end of the book where they showed its beautiful image of the All Star Squadron and whatnot that I was like, oh wow! But I've really come to really appreciate this book, and it's like I said, just the illustrations alone. This to me is the pinnacle of beautiful merging of the artwork and the narration to tell a fictional history, or almost in a nonfiction uh, informative version, as opposed to having dialogue bubbles. So I hope when Mark Waid does, because he's doing a new updated, I guess you could say, or a new version of the DC universe. I hope that he is respectful of the lineage of all these characters prior from all the previous creators. Uh, I'll be sorry. I'm sorry. There's a big part of me that doesn't have faith that he will, but you gotta hope. Just like everybody's hoping that this new Superman, Superboy, oh, I'm sorry, Superman movie is going to be such a hit. And I've made my opinion of this new Superboy film very clear. So everything about it screams that this is a Superboy and not a Superman. So, and that's the reason why I'm like, just call it Superboy. It's a Superboy movie. So, and then lastly, after history of the DC universe, we have Huntress, issue number 1. Now, I've got to check with Joe Staten. I believe Joe Staten originally did the book where they created the Huntress. And that might, hence the reason why when they recreated her post crisis, and she was no longer the daughter of Catwoman and Batman, and she became like the daughter of a crime family. I hope that I liked how Joe Staten did this book, and more importantly, at the end of the series, Batman does show up, and how like Batman disapproves of her. And as I've said to you guys, how like there was an issue of uh, Batman Confidential, that one where Huntress is fighting some robbers on an elevated train, and Jim Gordon's there, and the two of them have to fight the robbers. And at the end, Batman's there, and Batman and Jim Gordon have a talk, and Jim says how like I understand why you don't want the Huntress involved in this with what happened to my daughter Barbara. So I just thought that was really good. Now, really, I liked how they were consistent with that kind of where it was uh, Batman never truly ever approved of her, not because of her dedication to fighting crime, but because of the fact that he didn't want what happened to her to happen to as what happened to Barbara. So I always like that. And for me, it's one of those where it's like when you create something like that, you got to stay consistent. And that's where it's like, and they look, well, he eventually accepted her. It's like, no, you don't understand. One of the things that made that character work was the fact that Batman disapproved of her because of what happened to Barbara. And is that stagnant? Yes, but that's what makes the dynamic between the two characters work so well. And that's why a lot of times sometimes when you see me in chats and where there's like John's Longbox is a perfect example when he does his clobbering time. For me, where comic books have always had their strength is when they're stagnant, when movement or of the characters move slowly with their maybe changing of attitudes, and how like if you're going to have a change, have the change very slowly occur at a snail's pace, because you got to keep in mind 3 years in DC Comics is usually uh, maybe if maybe half a month, and that's one of the things we have that takes a while for fans to understand is how it's like that's the reason why we can have it can be like it can be like 3 months for the superhero, and here it's like 2 administrations for us. So, but no, so I really liked how Joe Staten was a part of this project, and I hope that he was. I hope he is one of the ones who has the not the rights, but it was like he created the IP, so he gets residuals from it. So, and then of course, lastly, we have. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Huntress was the last one for this week. So next week we finish up the H's and we move into the I's, and then after the I's, yeah, you got it, guys. We're going to get a lot of Justice League. I already know I'm going to do a mainly Justice League and probably just do like one issue of Justice Society, maybe 2 issues, but it's going to be very JLA heavy. So I just tell you guys that right now. And yes, I'll squeeze as many issues in that have vibe. So, guys, you have a great day. I know I'm going to have a great day working on this piece. So, and after this video, what I'll do is I'll rewatch this video and we'll take the determination as to whether we continue this at 0.5, or whether it goes up to, or whether we bump it back up. So actually, if you guys help me out, watch this video and see it and just watch me work. And then if you want to watch it in one time speed, go back to my older videos and let's see if I can do it. Yeah, so we got a choice. We can do it this size when I shoot my videos, or we can do that size. So let me know in the comments, which do you prefer? Do you prefer this size, this, which is 0.5, or do you prefer 1? Let me know. So, guys, you all have a great day. You know I'm having a great day. And of course, as always, take life one dot at a time.